し生まれ変わったらその時はさ
Hello loves, welcome back to another video. Today we are finishing Killua X Listener Runaway for our 3K special because I know I've been honing in on this series for a long time now and I've decided that why not finish it. So there are 3 chapters that I'm going to be reading today, Chapter 6, Chapter 7, and Chapter 8. I hope you enjoy, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Chapter 6, Hidden in the Memories. Why, I heard a voice disturb me from my beautiful slumber. Yes, I questioned, not opening my eyes or even trying to sit up. We have to get up now. The voice hummed, walking over to my side. No, go away, you voice of death, I said, louder than usual. My morning voice made me cringe. Suddenly, I felt a body plop onto me, being somewhat careful as to not hurt me. But then, I felt tiny hands trying to pry my eyes open. I tightly shut my eyes, waiting for the person to go away, but they did not. I turned on my side, trying to get them off me, though they continuously persisted through my tired attempts. This got to me, and I finally decided to screw everything, get up, and give this person a piece of my mind. I sat up, way too dramatic on my part, and rubbed my eyes. After, I stared forward. A wall was all I saw until a blurry fluff of moonlight white hair bounced in front of me. I sighed and meekly threw a pillow at him. Freaking fluffball, I cursed under my breath as Killua and I made our way down the hall. I was still in a yawning state while he was wide awake. Like, show off more, why don't you? Killua and I found the other players. Yes, I'm going to call them players, near the entrance. I saw the Kurta boy. He gained my full attention, and a wave of memory flooded my vision. Flashback. Disclaimer, I do not remember if she dies while giving birth, so just go with it. Why, sweetie, come here please. My mother called to me. I ran up to her as she was hanging clothes on the clothing line for them to dry. Yes, Mom? I skip happily up to the woman I've loved ever since I was born. Can you help me with this? If I do it on my own, I don't believe I will be able to get done in time for supper. She sighed. Of course, Mommy. I entangled my hands with some white shirts and clipped, handing them to my mother, as I was too short to reach the line myself. Mom, I asked on our way back to the main building, as that was where we always ate our dinner. Yes, she answered. Why are we not allowed to leave these walls? I stare meaninglessly at the walls that have kept me hidden from the outside world. I was only 5 at the time. But hey, better late than never to start questioning the world. Mum only smiled softly and pulled my collar a little towards her. I'll tell you when you're older, she said. No fair, you always say that. Well, honey, you're only 5. Ask me in 5 more years. She laughed out. I puffed out my cheek and murmured a small, fine. End of flashback. I heard a loud buzzing sound, then a why-in. Killua snapped his fingers in front of my face. I looked at him with a dazed expression and shook my head. Must have... never mind. I brushed off my thoughts and looked back up. The Kurta boy was staring at me with an unreasonable expression. I side-eyed him, as if to ask what he wanted. His pupils went wide, then quickly went back down. He shook his head, then held it in his palm. I tilted mine to the side in confusion. Was he stuck in a daydream too? He then rubbed his eyes and looked around the room, as if maybe looking for someone or something. His frantic head movement stopped when his eyes landed on me. They again swiftly went to the side, then dilated back down. I gave him a questioning raise of my eyebrow. He looked like he wanted to come over and say something, but then his eyes met Killua, who, now that I look at him, would be a little more than scared to approach as well. He had a full-on devil's mode, which he was oddly using now. Hey, I nudged his shoulder a little. He snapped out of his thoughts and turned to me with a frown. What's wrong? I asked, frowning myself. Nothing. You were going to say something. What were you going to say? I pressed into his face with my finger. Killua's sweat dropped. Nothing. I don't believe it for a second. I closed my eyes and waved my right hand while my arms stood planted at my side. Come on, we're leaving. He started dragging me off of the blimp. Which, now that I think about it, the guy must have been talking about the next activity, challenge, something like that, of the hunter's exam. I suppose I'll just have to wing it. I shrugged my shoulders at my thought, earning a small glance from Killua. My eyes looked at him, saying that I was just thinking to myself. He gave a slight nod and continued pulling me by my wrist down the stairs they had miraculously set out sometime this morning. It was then that I realized I didn't even know what bloody time it was. What if I was up too early? I need my beauty sleep. This is unacceptable. Absolutely Oh, it's 9 o'clock. We approached a sort of stadium with no walls or seats available. But there were tables. Oh goody. What does this exam have in store for us today? I asked myself, yawning because for some reason I didn't get enough sleep, even though I went to sleep around 8 last night. Man, I am so used to waking up whenever I want. Never in my life did I think I'd be woken up by that fluff. I look over to Killua, ready to glare at him because of my thought, but then I see his face, his lips. He was smiling. It looked nice. A real and genuine smile, finally grazing his features. It looked so cute. I wanted to take a picture, though instead, I decided to just admire it from afar, hoping that I'd be the one to get to make him smile like that again. Gosh darn it, he was so insanely adorable. Ha! Knowing Killua, he'd probably scold me for saying something like that, only because he's a few months older. What a nerd. I smirked internally to myself, looking away. As I said many times before, met the eyes of that Kurta boy. His eyes were calling at me, yelling for me to listen. I closed my eyes, and that's when I saw it. A memory, but it wasn't my own. Chapter 7. The Past Revealed. Kurapika! Kurapika! A woman called. I was standing in the middle of the room, and a 5-year-old blonde boy ran past me, as if I was not there at all. I was just a watcher. The woman didn't seem to notice me at all either. Ah! A shriek then came from the other side of the house. I assume I was in. Hide! The woman shouted to what I, again, assume was her son. The boy looked around frantically, reminding me of a certain Kurta. There! She pointed. The boy hid in a hole behind a painting hanging on one of the walls. Then it went dark. Suddenly, I was in the wall with the boy. A few meters behind him, though. He kept looking out of the painting, as if waiting for someone. His breaths were heavy as he tried to conceal his presence. His sharp scarlet eyes shone through the darkness, lighting up his face to me. I was shocked. It was the Kurta boy, but younger. Was this his memory? Was I seeing inside his mind? This is scary yet cool at the same time, I thought. But that all ended when I watched the boy start to climb out of the painting. I felt sick as I followed him. Everywhere there were people without eyes. That woman, the beautiful Scarlet that once shone, was now empty, hollow. I followed the boy into the kitchen and saw a man with brown hair, the same as the woman before. The boy then walked outside, and for the first time, I saw the outside of the house. It was like a little community, a deadly one. People all around were murdered, their eyes nowhere to be found. What the absolute periwinkle was that? I shouted in my head as my soul, or what felt like it, began to leap out of my body. I was now in the same place I was before. What in the bloody hell? I questioned. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. Everything is just how it was before, except now. There's a depressing expression on the Curta boy's face. I frowned as well. I started following as the group began to move, messing with the pin that was attached to my shirt. A number was placed on it, and I could only guess it was to tell the contestants apart. Yes, now I'm calling them contestants. Deal with it. Killua wouldn't let go of my arm. He's so clingy sometimes. I think you know what I'm going to say, so I'll just leave it at that. He changed his clothes for like the 10th time and made me do the same, which I'm not too mad about. My outfit is a plain but kind of cool. I'm wearing a black long sleeve shirt and some gray sweats. I did my hair how I usually do it, with what little time and resources I had, making me look almost presentable. We were standing behind the group of boys, 2 boys and 1 man, as Killua was conversating with the frog-like boy, and seemed deeply interested. I didn't care too much to listen. Kikyo would get on me for that, but my aloof personality is what makes me special. My eyes lazily drifted away from the 2 boys as I tried not to fall asleep right then and there. I'm serious. I think I might have just died from trying to keep my eyes open if Killua hadn't noticed and poured water onto me. I glare at him and rub my eyes. Where in the hell did you get a bottle of water from? I shouted. Short spurts of chuckles came from in front of us, so I glared at who they belonged to. It was the Curta boy, the frog, and the weird man with the suitcase. They attempted to quiet themselves down, but I guess my glare just made the event even funnier. Shut up, I demanded. The chuckling finally dialed down. The Curta boy was wiping tears from his face. I noticed because I was staring at him. Well, his smile, really. It was so calm, so gentle, and so warm. He reminded me of someone I used to smile like that at. Someone who would give me the same smile back. He noticed me staring and tilted his head. His smile did not wither, but his eyes said he was feeling a little awkward. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no control over my actions. I could not stop myself. So therefore, in my defense, I believe I am not guilty. I jumped onto him, wrapping my arms around his waist, snuggling my cheeks into his belly. It was so warm, like hers. Okay, cue the awkward anthem. I realized what I was doing and immediately retracted my actions. My eyes some time ago became teary. I looked down because I was a mess. My eyes were petals and my face was a tomato. I couldn't bear to see what Killua's was like. Ryan. Killua called. I just shook my head, indicating I had nothing to say. Ryan. Another voice called. My ears stung from the cracked pitch up in the voice. The person who was speaking was also crying. I looked up, but couldn't see straight. Due to the tears, they stained my cheeks and blurred my vision. I heard a couple of shocked gasps. What? What was going on? I rubbed my eyes, then looked around. What was everyone so shocked about? Were people attacking? I'm so confused. Huayan, I heard, though unlike all of the other voices before, this one was female. I looked up and removed my hands from my hair. Suddenly, I could see clear, very clear. Mom? I questioned. She emulated that warm smile she always had when she was alive. Yes, it's me, she spoke calmly, walking towards me. I stood still, waiting for her to make her way over to me, my face a mix of emotions. I was happy that I could see her again. I was confused. Why am I seeing her again? I was sad. I wanted to cry and tell her how much I've missed her. I was angry that she had left. Wyan, this may not make much sense right now. She steadily stroked my cheek, wiping a tear away, letting me know that I was still crying. But the boy in front of you, he can help you. Mom, I've missed you so much. How are you here? Where did you go? Can you I'm sorry, Wyan. I don't have much time. She cut me off. I've missed you as well. I've been watching over you. She again smiled. What do you mean? We don't have time? I questioned. My mom then pulled me into a side hug, our chests together as she looked down upon me. She then sighed and stroked my hair. I really wish we could stay like this forever. Why can't we? Because it is not your time, she hummed. Kurapika is a Kurta, this you know. But the reason everyone is so shocked right now is because now they know you are as well. Wait, what? I asked, pushing her away to meet her eyes. My mother grabbed me by the shoulders and looked me dead in my pupils. Wyan, you are a member of the Kurta clan. Your father was one, but he left because his clan would not allow us to be together. We spent many years apart before we had you. Then he died. I was still pregnant with you and didn't have anywhere else to go. So, he's my... No, you are not related by blood, only by the clan. The closest thing you are to him is maybe a long-lost half-cousin. Oh, ask for his help. Okay, I love you, Mom. I love you so much more, Wyan, she exclaimed, hugging me to oblivion. Continue watching over me? I asked. Always was her last words to me before she disappeared, and I was hugging thin air. I was no longer in the white, luminous room, but back in my place before I wiped away my tears and stood straight. Did you know? Something rubbed me the wrong way. He frowned. So did you? I guess, but now I think you can answer the question I asked previously. I tilted my head as if telling him to follow through. What's your name? I was not ready for that, but now I understood what he meant last night. I stood my ground, watching my eyes through his. They were almost blending by the same color they possessed, a burning, passionate scarlet. Wyan Kurta. Chapter 8, Storyline. I was half dumbfounded and half excited. I had more family. Well, not technically, but something similar. Plus, I had found a new power that I could brag about to Killua. Nii-chan, I called out to the Kurta boy. Well, I guess I'm kind of a Kurta now too, so it would be weird if I still called him that. I know, I'll call him Oni-san. Perfect. I'm not your brother, so don't call me that, he said, following the line. But we're sort of like family, I said, tapping my index finger on my chin. He annoyingly scoffed and rolled his eyes. Nah, Wyan, you're a Kurta member and you never told me. No wonder you spent so much time reading those books. Killua rambled on. I sweat dropped with a nervous smile. That's so cool. You and Kurapika are like related now, right? The green-haired boy chirped. I stopped and eyed him for a second. I don't think I ever got your name. He rubbed his temples and looked away with a nervous smile. Oh, I'm Gon Freaks. Wyan, I don't know what my last name is. I thought about it. The Oni-san, stopped in his tracks, swiftly turned around and gave me the most creepy smile ever while placing a hand on my shoulder. If you have those eyes, you're a Kurta, he stated. No, literally, it's like he didn't expect me to oppose. Oh, okay, that's a bit easier then, I say, nodding my head while watching the ground beneath me. Then I looked up and smashed my fist into my palm and said, Thanks, Nii-chan. Oni-san sighed again. I giggled. A few minutes later, Killua and I were nearing our table. We were one of the last people, so after a few more seconds, everyone was ready to begin the next contest. There was a woman speaking, again, didn't really care. Like I usually did with people like her, I drowned out the noise and focused on something more important. Carving mine and Killua's initials into a rock I found using one of the knives as a writing utensil. I don't know when, but I must have not noticed when the woman who was speaking earlier stood next to me and Killua. I looked up at the tall figure hovering above me and tilted my head, questioning her actions. Only one trainee per table. Yes, I am changing their name. Deal with it. I smiled at her oh so innocently and hooked my arm with Killua's. Sorry, but we're a package. If you continue like this, there will only be one hunter's license in the future, she said, crossing her arms, a scowl on her face as she continuously tapped her feet against the concrete. Fine by me. My smile widens. I heard a sigh behind me. I turned to see that it was Killua. I frowned. What? Nothing, he said, looking down. I just have an unreasonable lover. He looked up with a side smile. I smirked. Don't forget, they're hot too. He scoffed. Not as hot as me. Oh please, if anything, you're pretty, I retorted. He gasped. I'm not pretty. I decided to tease him some more. Whatever you say, pretty boy. He stood there, at a loss for words. I grinned like the devil. What? Cat got your tongue, pretty boy? Oh, enough of this. Moving on, the lady said. I stuck my tongue out at her as she walked away, then felt a grip on my wrist. I tried to turn, but I could not because of how tight the person's grip had on me. I knew it was Killua, so I tried to make him let go, but the cracked nut wouldn't listen to a word I said. My, what a handful you are. His hot breath was right behind my ear. Then out of the blue, he nibbled it. Hey, PG-13, Killua. Was all that came out of my flustered face. Killua smirked and let me go. I turned away, irritated that he got the best of me. As I looked away, I saw Oni-san wiggling his dumb eyebrows at me. I flipped him off and turned back to what we were originally supposed to be doing. Honestly, why are all my friends idiots? The competition started, and we sadly could not make a good enough turkey, or whatever we were supposed to make. I thought we lost, but something happened, I guess, and now we're on our way to the third competition. Yippee. To be completely honest, I was excited for this adventure. I was. Now, I'm just a little disappointed. It's kind of boring. But Killua seems to be having a good time, so I can't complain. He makes everything better. At night, when it's just me and him, when we're alone, it seems like the world stops for us and only us. That's when I think about our future together, whatever it has in store, whatever should befall either of us, we'll do it together. We always have, and we always will. There's no doubt in my mind that Killua and I would stick together. I know I say this a lot, but honestly, the world could be ending and we'd be joined at the hip, accepting our fate. Because why? Because we love each other just that much. It's a simple thing, really. Love, I mean. It's us. Killua finished for me, stroking my cheek as he placed the ring onto my finger. I do. He smiled warmly. I do. I returned the smile. You may kiss? Whoa. I need to end the story first. Right, sorry. Thank you. All I'm going to say is, love is expensive. It's complicated sometimes. It's a drug that a lot of people get addicted to, for better or worse. I'll just say this. I leaned in and kissed Killua on the lips. French kiss and all. Hey, okay, alright, that's enough. Kurapika shouted, pulling us apart. Come on, let them have their fun, Gon pestered Kurapika. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, he's not that bad after all, and that man Turned out he was just a teenager. Crazy, I know. He's our family doctor now. So, a lot of things have changed since then. I wonder what Kikyo's doing right now. Maybe we should go and visit them. They'll be proud. I smiled, thinking of it as the fireworks went off. Okay, love, so I'm gonna just read what I wrote at the bottom and end this story because this is super long, like 30 minutes. I gotta go edit this. So here it goes. What a ride that was, am I right? I hope you enjoyed. Finally finished this series so I can start working on the next one. Okay, bye loves. So yeah, as I said at the bottom, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this series. Sad that it's ending, but I do have another one up that I was supposed to be doing, but somebody told me that I never finished this, so like I went back and started doing this one, and now I can start doing the other one. Yeah, okay, bye loves.